Hello, I'm Tim Mosel, and if you're watching this, you already know the power of ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. But what if I told you that you could have all three of those models talk to each other and work together to give you better outputs, better ideas, and accomplish things even faster? So I'm going to show a pretty easy process to make that happen. And the first step is to use VS Code. That's a free download. And I'm going to go through some details. We're going to show you an example of what I built with this system. And if you look right here, I have a prompt that says, run the multi-AI workflow to create an instructional PowerPoint presentation, teaching users how to set up Visual Studio Code, install extensions for ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini. Explain the purpose of CLAUDE and AGENTS.md files. Explain how the multi-AI workflow works. Keep it beginner level, and so on. So I typed that in, I submitted enter, and then it summarized what I wanted to do. And it started taking a look at the code base, what's in the directory. And here it's thinking, created a plan. And as you can see, let's see, go back up. I'm just going to jump down to the plan. So with the plan, with this VS Code, you can put it into plan mode. Like right here, we can see the mouse, bypass permissions, ask before edits, edit automatically. I did plan mode. And here's the plan I came up with. And step one is to run the multi-AI workflow, and it gives the commands for that. It creates a Python script automatically to do that. And then it came up with the slides that it's going to create. And down here, if we go a little further, it talks about somewhere. This synthesize the best content from all three AI responses, including Claude. So what this does is it will give my prompt to Gemini, to ChatGPT, and to Claude. They each come up with an answer. Then Claude is the boss. Claude looks at all three responses, takes the best ideas, and it comes up with this final plan. So once I come in here, all I have to do is give it permission to progress. And now it's going to run, this is ChatGPT Codex, Gemini. Here you see giving it the prompts, and then it's creating the code for creating the PowerPoint. And at the end, we have a link to the PowerPoint, which is created right on my hard drive in the folder I gave it permissions for. And it tells me Gemini, what it pulled from Gemini, what it pulled from ChatGPT Codex, and Claude. And the slide overview. And then it saved my Python script if I want to make any changes for future. Now I'm going to jump over to the PowerPoint that it created. And it created mostly this. I did come into PowerPoint. I clicked Open Claude, and I used Claude within PowerPoint to make a few very minor adjustments. But I'm going to show you the slide deck that it came up with. And I will jump through here. Just talks about faculty time crunch. I don't need to cover that. We already know. And it doesn't matter if your faculty goes for any industry. There's always a time crunch involved somewhere. And this talks about ChatGPT is the idea machine. Gemini is being used as a researcher. Claude is the boss. It's the decision maker. All three contribute ideas. Claude picks the best ideas, and it creates the final plan. They each have different strengths. Claude is great for deep reasoning, for writing. ChatGPT is good for content generation, and Gemini is really great for research synthesis. And I had it put the slant towards education, but again, this works for any industry, any purpose. To set this up, you download VS Code. There's the link. And once you're in there, you can push Control+, then you just type in node space -- version. And if it doesn't show that you have Node installed, on this left side over here, you'll go to Node.js.org and download it. Just click install, and it installs it for you. Then once you come back here and do this again, it should show what version you're running. Then in VS Code, I'll come back over here. You would want to come here to this panel, which is extensions, and you would search for, first we'll say Claude, and you want to select the one created by Anthropic. And right here you see install. I've already installed it, so you don't see it there, but you would install it. You would then search for ChatGPT Codex, and you would search for Gemini, and you just install all of those. Now keep in mind, the only one that's free is Gemini. You do have to have a $20 a month account with Claude and with ChatGPT. If you don't, you could use Gemini only. If you have one of them, you could use Gemini and one that you do have a paid subscription for. So you just click those to install, and that's it. They're installed and ready to use. I'm going to jump back to the PowerPoint and go through this. Once you install that, you can then give it a couple, sample prompts, see if it's working. But what's really important, what makes this run, is CLAUDE.md file. Every time you load up Claude, in this case through VS Code, it also loads up the Claude file and it gives it instructions. And I'll share those with you in a moment here. The other important file is AGENTS.md. And MD stands for Markdown. Markdown is a format that AI understands very well. It doesn't have, if you give it a Word document or a PDF, it has to spend tokens and time to convert that to a format that it does understand, which is Markdown. And when it's running these things, anytime the agents are invoked, it will automatically check the agents file for instructions. I'll jump back over to VS Code and I'll show you the content of those two files. If I click on this top left, Explore, this shows what I have in my demo folder. This is just a folder that I created on my Windows drive, and came in here, I clicked File, Save Workspace As. So it gives permission for VS Code to work out of my demo folder, and it doesn't go outside that folder. The first thing in Claude, when it loads up, it's going to automatically read this information, and it tells it Claude Code can query other AIs in parallel and then synthesize the best answer. This gives a little bit of code for the AI to access the different tools in VS Code. And then usage. All I have to do is write the prompt, run the multi-AI workflow on this, and you give it the task. And then Claude will query Gemini and ChatGPT, and then it will eventually evaluate all three responses, including its own. Reference documents. I put a presentation design. How do I want the presentations designed? So it gives it guidance for that. Now, once this invokes the different agents, it will automatically read the agents file, which is this. And this gives it specific instructions, such as read this before starting, follow these rules for creating slides. The multi-AI coordinator gives it instructions for that. And that's it. It's really not a lot to that file. When it does come into this presentation design, here's a lot of details on what I expect for design. And this is written in Markdown. You can type this out into a Word document, Notepad, anything you want. Just give it to AI and say convert to Markdown, and that will create the file for you. Claude also has the ability to create Markdown files, MD files, agent files, so you can get assistance there as well. But as you can see, this has a lot of details for how I would want my presentations designed. Colors, WCAG 2.2 AAA compliance for accessibility. Very detailed file. And the AI tools will follow this very specifically. Ask other AIs. This is the instructions in a separate file for how I expect it to work, but this was built into CLAUDE.md, so it may not need to access this, but it is there. And that's it. So the keys to this system to work is having a CLAUDE.md file with just general overall view, agents.md for specifics of what you want to do once the agents start running, And then since this one is to create a presentation, those details. If it were to create an assignment, details on how you want your assignments created. The other night, before I went to bed, I gave it a prompt. I said, do research to find business ideas that are underutilized, that don't really exist. And all three of you will do your own research. Claude, you're the boss. So at the end of it, you'll decide on the best idea. And then you all three together work to create a plan. And I said, don't ask me any questions. Claude, you decide. If any of the other AI agents have a question, you answer. And it went to work. I woke up in the morning and I had an incredible business plan. And I also told it, build the platform, the website for this. And you have a $500 budget for advertising, which it doesn't do that. It just knows when it creates the advertising plan, how to plan it. I am the one that does that myself. So it's not spending my money, but it does give me the plan. It created a really amazing website, a full database, fantastic idea that I can monetize and start a new business. The only thing I have to do now is upload my files to the server and execute the business. Now, as far as that goes, if you have a server you're working from, if you install an FTP program called WinSCP, you can tell it to give it instructions to connect to that. And you can say at the end, after it builds all that platform, I can just type in deploy and we'll upload all the new files to the server. And anytime it makes any edits, it will automatically upload to my server if I type in deploy. I'm going to jump back for finalizing this on the PowerPoint. So the multi-AI workflow, same question goes to all three AIs, which is great because typically you would have to do each one individually, then you copy and paste between them and say, hey, which is the best idea? But this is all automated for you. I'm going as fast as I can through this. I'm already at 12 minutes, but I'll share access to this if you want to go through it more slowly. And that's it. If you have any questions, please comment. And if you build something cool with this system, I would really like to hear about it. The greatest thing about this is you are limited by one thing and one thing only, and that's your imagination, your creativity. Come up with some great ideas, and having 3 powerful frontier model AI tools working on it that disperse multiple agents per tool, it can do a lot of work, a lot of really amazing things that would take you months and months to do on your own. So again, thanks for watching, thanks for your time, and good luck building this system out.